On this week's episode, we look back at the points lost at Spurs, check in on the young lads out on loan, we review Ruben Amorim's 12 months in charge, and answer your questions from the Gummers Mailbag. All this and much more on Fergie's Gum, a Manchester United podcast. Hello and welcome to Fergie's Gum. My name's Nathan Irvine and I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Paul Cropper, who's got up at 6 o'clock this morning to do this podcast. It's dark, he's had 3 coffees, he's talked about needing the toilet multiple times, even in the first few minutes of this. And brilliantly, we've already done a rehearsal of the first part of this conversation because I forgot to hit record. But you're here, Mr. Paul Cropper. How are you doing, mate?
I'm here again, mate. Yeah, I'm all right, pal. Yeah, I'm all right. Like you say, it's dark. And I got my little squidgy football to keep me entertained so you don't shout at me. Well,
yeah.
I'm here.
That's
Good
fine.
to be back, mate.
Well,
good to be back.
You don't need to click the button to say today to say that you want to say something. You can just put your arm up. It's just me and you, mate. You can just say.
Just gonna press it anyway.
This is it.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh, fair enough. I think people enjoyed it last time. We should get some Fergie's Gum stress balls made up. Like the one that you've got there, mate. Yeah,
good idea, mate.
That's what we need. That is
stuff.
what we need. But anyway, we're obviously not here to talk about stress balls and what Paul does with his hands when he's he's trying to think of things to do. We're here to talk about this.
45 seconds to go. Bruno Fernandes into the penalty area. Up go the header, it's in! Matthjis de Ligt scores! Manchester United have found themselves a way back into the game. It's third ever Manchester United goal, and it's an equaliser with 30 seconds of stoppage time to go. Spurs 2, Manchester United 2, Matthjis de Ligt.
It was indeed Spurs 2, Manchester United 2, Brian Mbeumo and Matthjis de Ligt rising like a salmon at the back post in 96 minutes to nod home an equaliser. But that was a bloody strange game, I think is the best way to describe it. Low on quality and didn't really kick into life until the last 15 minutes or so. I'm going to ask you the question, and I said this last week to Ahmad. Was that a point gained or 2 points lost in your mind?
Yeah, 2 points lost. I thought Spurs were there for the taking. Not for the first time this season. I think we should have come away with all 3 points. Like you say, low quality. I thought Spurs were poor till they made the changes, which we'll talk about the changes. United, I thought we looked dangerous to be in parts, but it's just that final ball. You look at Dorgu's end product, who struggled again. But yeah, Matthjis de Ligt, he's emerging as a leader. I think I said in the group chat the other week that he's captain material 3 or 4 weeks ago, and that got kind of laughed at. I don't think people are laughing at it anymore. He's aggressive in the tackle, and he's everything he does, he's a leader. It's funny we talk about the substitutions, and when it dropped off when Maguire got his injury with his hamstring, and then Matthjis de Ligt went to the centre, which he's responsible for the goals. And maybe if that injury doesn't happen, but once again the drop off with the substitutes, and it happened again where. What was the game the other week where I think where Brighton improved after the changes? Was it? Well, yeah, as well. And once again, Spurs looked better after the changes, and we looked like we took 2 steps backwards. So, yeah, I think it was just there for the win, Nathan. Frustrating, but you've got to be happy with the last minute, especially with 10 men. Matthjis de Ligt, Bosch, get in.
Yeah, it was, and Matthjis de Ligt, as you said before, he is turning into a leader for Manchester United. Slightly average season last year, nothing really to write home about, but he's emerging as a real captain material this season. And I definitely think he needs to be in the conversation for that when Bruno does eventually leave, which was, probably at the end of this season. He's also got a recall back to the Netherlands squad. Ronald Koeman has called him up again.
Nice.
So he's definitely doing things well, and he's arguably been our best centre-back this season. Easily. Well, I don't even think it's arguably. I think he has been our best centre-back this season. I think he's been really good. I think he made a mistake with Matthijs Tel for letting him turn him, and then he deflected that goal into his own net. But as you say, that was down to, I think, the changes that happened kind of allowed Spurs to get back into the game, which is worrying. There's 2 ways of looking at this. There's the mental frailties of making the substitutions, and obviously we'll talk about those that was made shortly, making those substitutions and the team kind of falling apart when Spurs offered nothing. We was leading 1-0, fantastic header from Mbeumo, time seemed to slow down, and he was just there to nod it home. No real danger at all. Then Maguire goes off. De Ligt, as you say, is moved to centre-back, and they just collapsed again. But then to go down to 10 men, because Benjamin Sesko went off injured and we had no substitutes to use, again, questions have to be raised about Ruben Amorim's in-game management there. And then De Ligt rises at the back post to score that goal, which again shows that they're fighting until the end. And as we said last week against Forest, that game we probably would have lost last week. This game against Spurs, we probably would have lost that last season as well. So there's two ways of looking at it. And I mean, we need to iron out those issues. If we got any aspirations to finish in the top 4 or to get into Europe, we have to block out those things. Now, you mentioned it slightly there, the substitutes again. We are struggling when we bring these players onto the pitch, and it's got to be a worry for Ruben Amorim. The quality when Maguire goes off, when Casemiro goes off, he can't last 90 minutes every week. And the person that we're bringing on, specifically in Casemiro's place, Manuel Ugarte, and he just doesn't look up to it at all. He looks all over the place, and I don't know what's going on. But what's your thoughts on the substitutions then? Do you think it's a problem with squad depth?
There is a problem with squad depth, yeah. I think it just shows things. We've just discussed it, 3 or 4 games where it's shown the drop off, isn't it? The Ugarte, when he gets skipped around too easy, doesn't it? It could be a case of the Wirtz issue where he's just not physical enough for this league. He's just not physically demanding it. You need to be bigger, don't you? And if someone's skipping around you, especially in that position, you need to be dominant. And that's where it comes from, him not being dominant. The other one is when Sesko comes on as well, it just, there's another drop off there in quality of it sticking and stuff like that. He had his chance. If that chance drops to Cunha, he scores, doesn't he? Yeah, but it's also with the wing backs. When you change your wing backs as well, when Mazraoui went off, I know Ahmad does his best there, but that's where the chances are all coming from again, defensively. It's another issue there as well. So, yeah, the drop-off in quality is just not good enough. So that's something hopefully the club can look at in January. But we're going to have to deal with that.
See, I didn't really think Ahmad did a bad job when he was forced to go back there. I thought Mazraoui offered nothing going forward. He was just, good-ish at the back.
Yes.
And I know he's coming back and he's rusty. I'll tell you what else is coming back. His hairline. Bloody hell.
It is.
He's definitely had the Andros Townsend treatment, because that hair has made a comeback greater than Jesus.
It's not one of them spray-on ones on Nathan. Give big gust of wind, it's going that.
Yeah, true. He'll probably be in the Stretford end next match. But yeah, I thought he played okay, like an average game for him. But I remember last season he was bringing the ball into the final third and he was doing something with it. He was getting a crossing or he was trying to take on a man. I think he scored a couple of goals last season from right wing back. I think he did.
No,
I might be wrong. I've been wrong before, but I'll check that in the next break. But I just thought he didn't really offer much going forward. Ahmad, when he switched it up, him and Mbeumo have that combination where they know what they have to do. We're never going to get proper defensive solidity with those two, but you will always create a problem down that side. And I think they combined for the goal, for Mbeumo's goal. So I can't really fault those guys. The interesting one on the other side is Patrick Dorgu, because he's like the question on everyone's lips, and I think he splits fans right down the middle, is he good enough to play for Manchester United? Now, he's still young. We bought him from Lecce in January of last season, wasn't it? And he's played a fair few games for Manchester United in that time. Not with the ideal players around him, not with Ruben Amorim's ideal players around him, but he has played a significant amount of time. He's super raw, and I still back him to make it. And just to give you a bit of a clue about his potency for Manchester United, there's a stat doing the rounds the other day. I think it was from Manchester United's official Instagram account. I think he's the top player for duels in the Manchester United squad. He's won 67 duels this season, which according to StatsMuse, duels all throughout the season from like top to bottom, he's 11th in that list. Now, the interesting thing about him being 11th, is he's played 624 minutes, right? That's 200 minutes less than pretty much everyone else that's in that top 25. Lucas Paqueta is at the top, and I think he's got 84 duels won. Dorgu's got 67. I know stats can tell you anything and everything, but that tells me that he's useful. I think what we kind of concentrate on as fans, or what we see as fans, we don't look at those bits. We don't look at those tackles. Unless he's crunching through someone and he smashed someone, you don't really look at it. If he's just tipping it off someone's toe, that's the thing that you don't really notice. What we notice is when he gets into that final third, his final ball's terrible. But do you think there's a player there? Or do you think he's like, do we need another upgrade on that left back, wing back position?
Both, to be fair, Nathan. I think he is, like you say, useful defensively, because he is big, solid, will run. He doesn't stop running, does it? And he is, going back to the Ugarte, he is physical. He is dominant in that, as the stats are proving there. But in that wing back position, you do need to have an end product as well, don't you? You do need to produce something going the other way. But the balance with Ahmad being the attacking threat and him maybe defending, is probably what the manager's looking at. But there is a player, and luckily you can teach a player and they can improve on the end product, can't they? That's something that you can do. Unfortunately for United, where we are, I think we still need an upgrade in that position, because you're looking at this squad and this team, and that is one position you can still go, we can improve in there in January, in the summer. And also, it takes the pressure off him. 20-year-old, you know what I mean? Take the pressure off him. Bring him in for games where he can then be, right, well, I can work on it and I can improve, or I can see someone more senior that's better than me to show me and to help me improve in his position. So a bit of both, to be fair, Nathan. Yeah. Won't be too hard on the lad, but his end product.
Yeah, exactly. He does need to improve. I completely agree with that. We are stacked at that left wing back position. If you actually boil it down to the names that we could put in there, we've got Dorgu that can play there, obviously. Dalot plays on that side. We've got Mazraoui that can play on that side as well. We've got Luke Shaw that can play there. Harry Amas is out on loan. We'll talk about him later. Harry Amas is out on loan, but he's doing well in that position right now. We've also got, who else is there?
Well, there's Martin, isn't there? Is an obvious one.
Yeah, he's not quick enough.
No,
he's not quick enough.
But he could come into that left-hand side of the defence and then, like you said, push Luke Shaw up as the other option, who could show Dorgu what to do there, couldn't he?
Yeah. Tyrell Malacia as well, who apparently Ruben Amorim, according to the Athletics article, he asked the squad whether or not to reintegrate Malacia back in after last season. He spent last season on loan, and unanimously they said, yeah, bring him back in. So there are options down that side, but all of those names that I mentioned don't get into a top four side.
No,
that's the issue. That's the issue that we're going to have. But another thing that I did want to talk about as well, like we're talking about Ugarte. I mean, I don't reckon he's going to make it at Manchester United. I think he'll be sold in the summer. There's been a lot of noise, and there was last week as well, ex-players and pundits. Benjamin Sesko, how did you see his performance? I know he didn't last very long. I think it was only 15, 20 minutes that he did last in his cameo. But I thought the one thing for me is a confident Benjamin Sesko toe pokes that ball under Vicario and does not get tackled by Mickey van der Ven in that situation. Yes. Did fantastic to get the ball, to win the header and then run onto it, which was great skill. But he'll always be judged on goals, and that wasn't a goal. What do you think about him overall this season?
He strikes me as not a natural goal scorer. We've seen players that are natural. They just take it in the stride, and it naturally.
Did you think we was getting a natural goal scorer though previously before we joined? Did you think we were getting one? No. Okay.
No, I didn't. I thought we were getting exactly what we're getting: a target man who's physical, who was better at that, holding it up than Højlund. But like we said, I think we said before we signed him, he scores spectacular goals, but the stats show that the ones like he got, he takes a split second to think about it. But it's another thing with being young and maturity. Hopefully that'll come again where when he's confident, he'll just stroke that home, that chance. Like you said, he did do well for the flick on. It's come out that his injury's not that bad, isn't it? That it's not as bad as first thought. I just have thought of whether he could have just stayed on. That was the another thing that crossed my mind. Can he stay on, or because when we went down to 10 men, I'm like, there was a point where do you remember Wayne Rooney stayed on when he couldn't walk and he just stood there?
Yeah.
That
He's just hobbling.
could he have done? You don't know, do you? But at the time, I was like, can you not just stay on instead of taking us down?
It's
to 10
a
men?
different. You're absolutely right, but it's a different time and a different age
I
now,
agree.
where
Yeah.
all of these the health and safety and well-being of these players is paramount, and they know it's a short career, and as soon as there's any type of twinge, I mean, look at Harry Maguire. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big strapping centre half. Could he have stayed on? Probably not. Would players in that position 20 years ago have stayed on? Probably, if they thought that they could do a job and they could get around the pitch. The one thing with Sesko is, and you're not the first person to say that they thought he probably, not faking it, but could he have just stayed on for a little bit longer? I just thought he looked like he was trying too hard when he came on the pitch. Immediately, I thought he was desperate to get the goal. I don't think Ruben Amorim's pre-match press conference probably helped him, because he kept saying about his lack of confidence and that he's frustrated and things like that. If you've got that ringing in your ears from your manager, two things are going to happen. Either you're going to be crushed by it and then try too hard when you get on the pitch, or you're going to be like, well, right, okay, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to show you how natural it is. And I think he just kind of got caught in two minds for me. But
not a bad thing, is it? I suppose trying too hard.
Exactly. A confident Benjamin Sesko scores that, though, I feel. And I think just going back. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I was going to say he's had a bitty start, answer. He's had Chelsea game, he came off. He's not started a couple of games. Cunha doesn't look as comfortable up there, does he, as the main striker? He looked better.
Cunha had his worst game in a Manchester United shirt.
He doesn't look as comfortable as the main man up top. So Sesko, I think there was the game where he didn't quite hold it up as well as he should, the Forest game. So I thought he might put Cunha in there. But he's something he's going to have to work on. As once you settle into a new team, you don't just come in and just take off. Look at what Isak's doing and Pert's are doing at Liverpool. We need to give him time. He needs to play games. And I've no worries about him come good, Sesko. I think it'd be a good signing in the end. Yeah.
No, me neither. And I think we talked about this. Me and Ahmad talked about this on the last episode. We were saying that obviously they've only got one game a week now. So whereas you look at someone like Victor Gyökeres, he's getting games in the League Cup. I think they're still in the League Cup. He's getting games in the Champions League, and he's getting games in the league. So he gets to get sharper. He's got games momentum. He'll come in and out of the side, but he'll get sharper and he'll get used to the pace of things. We have got 90 minutes or 90 plus minutes on a Saturday, Sunday, and that's it. And
in the Premier League,
you've got to take, exactly, and you've got to take your chance. And it's going to be difficult for him to get up to speed, which is great. Which is, it's good that we've got Mbeumo and Cunha who already know how to do this. But yeah, Sesko's probably going to take a little bit more time. Hopefully, the talk is that he will be back for the Everton game at Old Trafford after the international break. So it can't be that bad. But it did just kind of ring true that there's a problem with squad depth, especially in that midfield area. But we'll it's not really going to help, but we're going to have a look at the loans that are out at the moment and see if any of these could potentially make their way into the Manchester United senior team next year. Right, let's do loan watch then, because there's many Manchester United players that are out on loan right now, and we seem to talk about the same names all the time, obviously, because they're the ones that are playing for Manchester United currently. But there's a few lads that are out there that are trying to kickstart their careers or get some professional experience, like first team experience against proper opposition. I'm not going to cover, well, we're not going to cover Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Højlund or Onana, because I don't think those boys are coming back to play for Manchester United ever again. But let's start off with one that I think we could probably do with him in January, mate. He's getting plaudits at Sheffield Wednesday right now. 18-year-old Harry Hamas. There's been a lot of talk about him from Manchester United fans for the past couple of seasons, where we've wondered when this young prodigy was going to get into the left wing back position. And he seems like the ideal candidate to go in there and do this job right now. It's a shame he's out on loan, but I just want to read what Sheffield Wednesday are in they're fighting a relegation battle. They're in administration. They've had points deducted. They're going down this season in the Championship. But Henrik Pedersen, who's the new manager there, he's been getting, he can say nothing but praise for Harry Hamas. And he said the other day, the young man who came into Sheffield Wednesday and the young man who just left the stadium today are two different humans, and they are two different players. And the reason why he said that was he was saying that he's matured so much on and off the pitch that it's night and day. And he just said he's transforming into a fantastic player. You sent me a clip, didn't you? Someone had put a load of Twitter posts together, about him, and some of the comments on there, like, Sheffield Wednesday fans can't bloody believe it that he's at the club. But he's playing well and he's doing really well in that team. Like, have you seen anything of him? I've seen some highlights. Seen some highlights of him, but he looks the part, mate.
I saw him in the youth team, to be fair, and he looked the part there. He looks like a regen of Luke Shaw when Luke Shaw could run. That's how he plays his game. His stature is very similar to Luke Shaw's. He's quite short and stocky, but his technical ability on the ball is very good. We said this probably 18 months ago when he was in the youth team. He got a couple of games in the pre-seasons, and I think he got a few minutes there. But that's why he's sending young players out on loan, to make them mature. He's probably living in digs, or he's probably on his own, and he's having to look after himself and mature as a man as well. Get some regular minutes in a competitive league, because it's completely different to the youth team and the setup. Playing against men in the Championship who will clatter you, who will go through you, and it's physical. So if you're shining there, you like to think hopefully you can do a decent job in the Premier League. But when you're playing for Manchester United, Nathan, it's a different story, isn't it? We've seen kids fold, we've seen players fold. So I'd leave him there and let him get a full season instead of bringing him back in January, to be honest with you, because I would like him to be maybe next season the second or third choice left wing back for us, to help with the squad, if you see what I mean. Then you can bring him in for the League Cup games and play in that way. Instead of just going back January, you're in there, you're back up to Dorgu. Dorgu comes off, you bring him on and he struggles. You're taking him a little bit back a couple of steps, but just let him keep shining. Don't put too much pressure on him. Let him keep doing it. Let him get a full season. Then he'll come back. He'll be 19 next year, and maybe a bit stronger as well. Let him develop. But good on him. Good on the kid.
I think you're right. I think bringing him back in January, the old romantic in me, like, loves the idea of bringing back this youth player and him kicking on and being amazing and driving us up the table from January onwards. But Johnny Evans is now responsible for the pathways and loans, isn't he, at Manchester United? So he's the one that ultimately decided that Sheffield Wednesday would be the best place for Harry Hamas. And I think it's worked out really well. And I don't think Manchester United are in any rush to bring him back for those reasons that you just said, mate. I think they want to keep him out there. They want to make sure that he has as much experience as he can in the first team, not sat on a bench, in the first team, which he is now. He's a starter at Sheffield Wednesday. And just see how he does. I'm not sure if he will come in and play back up to Dorgu. I think he might come in and play back up to whoever the first choice left wing back will be next season, because they probably will dip back into the market. But it's heartening to see that a loan move is actually working out and that we're getting the best out of this player, and he's gaining massive experience, which is not something that you can say for the other person on the list right now, which is Toby Collier. And at 21 at West Brom, he needs to be playing regularly, and he isn't. He's starting a lot of games from the subs bench. I know Ruben Amorim thought a lot of him. I think Erik ten Hag thought a lot of him as well when he was at the club. But he hasn't completed. He's a little bit like Carlos Baleba, although he has broke this record now. He's not completed 90 minutes for West Brom this season. So he's not exactly setting a light to the Championship, and he's not exactly, the go-to player for West Brom in that midfield. And it's, for me, with Collier, I like him, but it's hard to know where he goes from here, because only a few months back we were saying, well, here's our backup to Casemiro. And he's gone out on loan, and he's having a tough time down there at West Brom.
Yeah, but he's played 10 games, hasn't he, for West Brom this season, which, look at what we're on, middle of November. It's not a terrible thing. If he can get 30 games under his belt by the end of the season, then...
But those 10 games are... And I'll double check this as I'm talking to you. I think a majority of those have been from the bench, and it's like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Like, it's not great experience. He could have got that at Manchester United, let's be honest. He could have been the Manuel Ugarte that's coming on and doing it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
possibly, yeah.
So I'm looking at his last games from this season. So he had 3 minutes against Wrexham. I think that might have been a pre-season for it. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was a real game. 3 minutes against Wrexham, 3 minutes at Portsmouth, 11 minutes at Stoke, 17 minutes at Derby, 28 at Middlesbrough, 1 minute versus Leicester, 15 minutes Norwich, 79 minutes at Millwall, 55 minutes at Preston North End. And the last game they played, he got 2 minutes, mate, against Oxford United.
He's obviously not having it his own way, but this is what football's like. You don't start every game. You've got to show in training now, no, this is what I'm about. He'll know where he's at, and now it's up to him to force himself into the first team in that
That's
standard.
true.
So yeah, let's see what he's made of. Like I say, at least he's getting some, because there's some players that go out on loan and they don't even get a sniff, do they? So at least he's getting a bit of a sniff to get in there, and it's up to himself to show a bit now. Right, I'm not having everything my own way, but this is what I'm all about. So yeah, let's see how he gets on.
I think at 21 as well, I know we were talking about Harry Amas a second ago, but at 21, I feel like that's kind of the sweet spot for your career of, am I going to make it at Manchester United, or should I start thinking about moving on and going to a lower league club and trying to just forge your career a bit lower down, try and build yourself up, as you said there. So Collier is one of those that I think he's going to have to have a long, hard look at himself after this season and then work out where he goes from here. Another player that is very similar to that, and he's also playing in the Championship, is Joe Hugill. In fact, he's not playing in the Championship. He's playing at Barnet. He's in League Two. And I think he spent last season in League Two, but with Carlisle. Yeah, he spent last season with Carlisle. 3 games, no goals for him at Barnet. He's a striker, obviously. Last season at Carlisle, 17 appearances, 2 goals. I know it's harsh, but when you're talking about what I was just saying then, when you're 21 and you're at that sweet spot of the crossroads of your career, I think Hugill's one of those players that he'll be released at the end of this summer. He's got a contract until 2026. I can't see him coming back and challenging for spots as a main striker for Manchester United. What about you?
Hugo, funnily enough, one of the dads at the my little one's primary school, his 2 lads were in United Academy, and I was talking about Shea Lacey to him. What do you think? He said a few things about Shea Lacey, but he said the boy to watch out for is Hugo, and that's the words he come out of his mouth. He said he's physical, he's dominant, he's got the quality to make the step up. So it's surprising me that the way his form going out on loan, but you do have dips in form. So you've got to, once again, show you're not just going to go on loan, score 20 odd goals, come back into the first. That's just not how football careers go. You're going to have testing times. He will, but if you're not scoring goals at that standard, maybe you're not getting enough chances. Maybe he's used to playing with better standard players, even in the youth team, to what he's actually playing with there. So maybe he's not getting the chances created. But it's, once again, same story. You've got to show a bit. You've got to show a bit more if you want to come and play for Manchester United. But they'll be looking at that, and like you say, the age of him. Is he realistically going to challenge Sesko, Cunha for that spot? You've got to say no, aren't you, at this point, going off the evidence there. So just look out for him in the Championship. That might be where his standard is. We don't know yet, but if he's not scoring goals, actually, there might be some other clubs looking at it going, well, yeah, we're not willing to do that. But hopefully he gets a career in football. Probably not at Old Trafford, though.
I think that's the other thing as well. When we talk about, you have the successes of like a Johnny Evans with whoever else he works with about these loans and where they should be going to. You have the successes in your Harry Amases, but then at the same time they have to be responsible for Hugill not getting on very well at Barnet. Do you know what I mean? They might look at it in January and go, do you know what? Another season down there is just not working. Let's bring him up a level. Let's bring him up to League One or put him into the Championship. Let's see if we can get him alone there and see if we can get more out of him when he's playing with better players. No offence to Barnet or Carlisle, but this is a lad with Premier League aspirations. So you need to be putting him into that type of environment to see how he cooks with it.
A great example of that, Nathan, would be if you think about how Harry Kane's career went. I'm not saying that Hugo's going to go on and do what Harry Kane.
No, but you're right to bring it up. You are right to bring it up. 100%.
He went out on loan to Leicester, didn't he, and sat on the bench for 6 months, however long it is, because he couldn't get a game above Jamie Vardy, I think it was. He couldn't get a game off. So sometimes these loans don't work out for 6 months. So then bring him back, send him somewhere else, see how he get on.
He went to Leicester and he also went to Norwich. He also went to Millwall.
Yeah,
and he had a spell at Leyton Orient as well. Did Harry Kane?
There you go.
But yeah, you're right.
Out.
These things exactly, and these things can change very quickly as well. Another one that is having a good time is Radek Vitek. He's at Bristol City. We'll ignore the fact that he shipped 5 in a game against Stoke City recently. So we'll pass that one on. But he's a player that the Bristol City fans love. I saw a clip of him like leading the chants after a win at home the other day, where the crowd were loving him, and he was like giving it the big one to him. He's also someone that Andy Mitten from The Athletic says that the staff within Manchester United have got high praise for him. They see him as a potential number one. And I think when it was Onana and Bayindir, and we was having those problems before Senne Lammens came in, there was talk about, is Vitek ready? Like, could he come in and do a job if we do get rid of Onana? Ultimately, they decided to go and jump on Lammens, which is obviously a great move. But do you think, I think the door is open for Vitek to come in and stake a claim for one of those positions at United. I think there's less competition for places there for him.
100%. I liked him when he played a couple of games. I think it was a pre-season again, and he looked how you want a goalkeeper to look, calm on the ball. Made some decent saves, made some catches. 6'6", he's an animal, isn't it? It can only do him good starting games, because as a goalkeeper, it's hard to be a backup and not play games. So for him to get out there and actually start, develop his game, be confident. Confidence as a keeper is massive, Nathan. It's even more so. You like to think your strikers as well, but any other position on the pitch apart from a striker, a goalkeeper, confident, playing games, getting a full season at that level. Brilliant. But yeah, I can see him coming in and, like you say, challenging Lammens. I don't think he will eventually be a number one. Nothing wrong with being a backup goalkeeper at Manchester United, though, is it? It's a great position to have.
No, ask Tom Eaton or Lee Grant, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
They love those positions. You're getting 50 grand a week for sitting on the bench and being a top lad. So yeah, it's a decent position to be in.
If Lammens can't play because of injuries or whatever, I'd much rather have him in my net than Bayindir. Much rather.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That tells you everything. Everything. You did touch on the point there about like strikers and goalkeepers being judged on loans in different ways. And the last 2 players that I've got on the loan list here is Ethan Wheatley. And we'll start with him. He's at League One, Northampton Town, 17 games, 2 goals. I think he's one of the players that will be around in the future. I think Wheatley, he signed a contract recently until 2028, I think it was. So I don't see him going anywhere. There's no rush. He's just able to he cut his teeth down in League One. I think he scored at the weekend, actually. Or he got man of the match at the weekend and didn't score. I think that was
nice.
It was one or the other. But Wheatley's one of those. When I've seen him play, especially for the under 21s or the under 19s, whichever team it was, he's looked decent. He's looked very good. I think the problem that he has, and the other player that I'll talk about in a second, is that they're all right in those positions, and they've got Chido Obi that's, I think he has the pathway to the first team. I think it was promised when he signed for Manchester United, and I think anyone else behind him, I think everyone else is behind him. You get in line, go prove yourself, go and have a bit of football down in League One or in the Championship, and see how you get on. And Wheatley, he'll be back. He'll probably do another loan next season, maybe in the Championship, but can't see any problem with that, with Wheatley. What about you?
Potential, innit? He's very local lad from Stockport, so he's he's got big potential. And the thing is, at 19-year-old, you don't know where he's going to be at 21, 22. You've no idea. He could just go on a path that's quite level and standard, or like you said, 18 months time. Look at Hamas within 6 months where they can go. They can just go through the roof sometimes. So yeah, keep him around. He's definitely got potential, the kid. Definitely.
Yeah. I think he's got less to worry about than the likes of Joel Hugill, who only has a contract until May. So,
Agreed.
and he's 3 years older than him. So, yeah, I think Wheatley will be back. Another player that will be back as well is Enzo Canabic, who we signed from Le Havre in summer. He was the striker that we brought in, 19 years old. He joined, I think we was in a fight with Arsenal maybe for his signature. He was in a fight with a couple of them for his signature, and he chose to come to Manchester United. He's out now at Lausanne Sport, which is owned by Ineos, I think, in the Swiss league.
Yeah.
And he scored his first goal at the weekend, first ever senior goal at the weekend.
Yes.
So he's another one to keep an eye on, and another one that you kind of go, well, not now, but 3-4 years time, maybe he's coming in and he's gonna do it. Well, not even 3 years time, it's probably 2 years time. You got to be looking at trying to break into the United team. Don't know much about Canabic, apart from his was it his granddad that played for Cameroon in the 1990 World Cup?
Really?
I think that's
Brilliant.
yeah. I think that's
Roger Miller.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
It was either that one or it was the one where they wore the do you remember when Cameroon had
Sleeveless.
that kit, the kit that was, but it looked like it was painted on. It was for men of a certain shape, definitely
Yeah, it
not
was.
not
Yeah.
the armchair fan. But yeah, he's got heritage through Cameroon, but I
Brilliant.
can see him coming into the team
Okay.
sooner rather than later. But as I said, Wheatley, Biek, and Hugill, they're all behind Chido Obi, who's going to be the one that's, the heir to get in there. Did you have any others written down there, or is that it? I think that might be it.
No,
Oh, you got another one, have you?
He popped up at weekend, scored a goal, got an assist at Falkirk, Ethan Williams. So he seems to be settling in, getting some minutes there. The fans apparently love him, love his directness. So yeah, he scored a goal and got an assist at weekend. So I was just looking, it's his birthday this weekend. Happy birthday this weekend, sunshine.
Is it?
But yeah,
There we go.
yeah,
I'll pass it on.
yeah. Yeah, so he seems to be doing all right. Get the first team football. It's at that age, you can't underestimate how big it is for these kids.
I think the last thing to say on all of this, in terms of like the loans and everything, is that Manchester United are probably in a good place right now with the youth team and the players that they've sent out on loan, because there is a lot of potential with all of those players that we just talked about. I mean, I was writing off Joel Hugill. You've been told, with someone that knows him a lot closer, that he's a very good player. Collier, we've seen what he can do. We know that he has potential. We've got Hamas, who's ripping it up. Vitek, that can easily come in. Wheatley, Canabic, potential galore with all of these players, and Ethan Williams, as you say. So I think United are in a good spot at the moment, and I think we should see a few of those in the next couple of years. We're recording this on November 12th. We are one day ahead of Manchester United's Ruben Amorim coming to the club. 1 year anniversary. He arrived on the 11th of November 2024. it's been a ride, mate. It's been a big ride.
It has.
And I thought it was probably apt, as it has been 12 months since he's been in the job. We just cover the good, the bad, and the ugly of his reign so far. But I wanted to start off with this, and it's not usually a way that you do things, especially when you're in the review business. But I wanted your rating up front, mate, on how he's done in the 12 months. And it's out of 10.
I had a
It's out of
feeling you
10.
were going to do
And
that.
because we can go into dissecting it and we can give our reasons afterwards. But I wanted to get the score up top, mate. So what are you giving him out of 10?
I was doing my notes last night and I actually put my score at the top and I changed it 3 times.
Okay.
Originally, I give it a 5.5 out of 10. I went to a 6.
You like your points, don't you?
I do like me decimal. A little decimal, get that in there. But I went to a 6 because I like Ruben. But you can't say it's any better, can you, after last season? Because it was crap. Have that one. Yeah.
But you know what the funny thing is that we did a podcast and we've also had our WhatsApp messages where we were going at each other saying that he should stay. No, I think he should go. I've got the same rating for him, 6 out of 10.
I think it's fair. But as we go through the good, the bad, and the ugly, you'll see why, because there's quite a lot of bad and ugly, to be fair.
Well, let's start with the good. Let's start with the good, because I think it's always important to focus on the positives of things. We know what the bads are, but let's have a look at the goods. What have you got first of all?
I've got his personality. He's a very got a very likable personality about him, hasn't he? Because he's an ex-player, I think he understands players. I think that comes across in his interviews, in his speech at the end of the season at Old Trafford. I think we all want him to do well, and he's got that connection with fans and with the players. I think that goes a long way being a manager. It's a different thing to what we used to at Old Trafford, isn't it, with the disciplinarian, etc. of Sir Alex. But I think this way of coaching and managing is probably what the modern footballer needs. Do you understand what I mean? The arm on the shoulder. I read an article where it says he's distancing himself from the first team on nights out, etc., so he can still be I am still the boss. I think that will go a long way with this type of modern player. I also don't think he's got a problem with shouting at them, having a go at them, telling them what he thinks to the face, which you need. You need honesty, and I don't obviously know him, but that's what comes across. He will be honest. He's passionate as well, and I think that'll come across to the players. What else have I got there? I think
can I just chip in? No,
you chip in
while you mentioned that part there about him being a good man manager and everything. So without naming names, but I was out, I spoke recently to an ex-Premier League player who had it on good authority from someone that's in that changing room that the person that you see outside and in the news and in the press conferences is very different to the manager that the players get to see. In fact, saying that as a man manager, he's crap. That's the feeling. He's very much I'll do it in front of everyone else rather than arm around the shoulder type of thing. That's because I know that's what you just mentioned then, and that's what this player had actually said. It was the perception from everyone else outside of it, and even referenced this. The perception outside is, he's top guy and he tells it how it is, and you can see how he is with his players. But apparently that's not the case at all, and it's not something that they particularly get on with either. And this claim was backed up by that article that Laurie Whitwell wrote for The Athletic recently. I think it went up yesterday on the anniversary of the 12 months in charge, where in that interview he basically says that the players don't like the fact that whenever he's got a problem with them, he says it in front of the group rather than going, right, you come here, we can have a chat. The only person, and again, this is in that article, the only person that's allowed to go and talk to him one-on-one is Bruno Fernandes as captain. Obviously, he's the lieutenant that says what happens with the players and what happens with the management, and he's the conduit that they basically use for that. But yeah, those the claims about him being a good man manager, I think, are wide of the mark.
Wasn't Emmanuel Ugarte you were talking to, was it, mate?
Well, that was it. That was the other, but because again, we can talk about this immediately because you did say that, and this is part of the good, and I don't mind this at all. But again, within that article, it was saying during the conversation with Alejandro Garnacho, where he said, you need to find yourself a good agent, or you better hope that your agent is good this summer because you're out of here. He also turned to Manuel Ugarte and claimed, you've got comfortable as a player. I don't recognise you as the same person that I worked with at Sporting, which again is saying that you're a lazy get and that the money's broken you. So I'm all for that. I
Me
love
too.
it. But that again,
Me too.
that was in front of the group. It depends how you are with that. We've all worked in jobs or played in teams where we'd have preferred someone to go, you messed up there. But
Yeah.
in a enclosed environment, somewhere else where it's just the two of you messed up there. You could have done this, you could have done that. If you're being dragged out in front of everyone, 20 odd
Yeah.
players, it's tough on the character.
It takes a bit of character to come back from that, doesn't it? Yeah, it really, especially in football, which is really bitchy environment anyway, isn't it? So yeah, but show a bit. You're at United. We're not here to be mollycoddling players, but show a bit now.
Well, but that's what but when Fergie used to do it, like Rooney told this story when he was over here recently about, and he's many people have got their own version of it because it was Ryan Giggs and Rooney and other players would be shouted at for things that they hadn't even done in the game, but because Fergie knew if he shouted at Nani or Ronaldo, they'd have cried.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have been able to handle it. So it was a way of like getting to them and doing it that way. So I think, I don't know, Ruben's still evolving as a manager. I think that might take some time in dealing with those egos, but he's certainly got a style of how he wants to do things. Sorry, I curtailed that because I wanted
Don't
just
worry,
to
mate.
put that on record. But you're still on the good parts of things, I think.
I am. It's not as long as the other ones. I've put on there the squad feels happier and more together. I think there's been an improvement in that. But I'm not sure whether that's down to the idiots he got rid of and the organisation and the put behind there. But that's another thing you have to say to go on.
You have to say that Amorim was instrumental in getting rid of those characters, because whereas before we would have entertained the idea that these guys weren't training professionally or they, leaking team news allegedly, all of these things, Amorim came in and went out. Rashford's, top assist maker at Barcelona right now, so he's having a good time. But big decision, I want him out. Jadon Sancho, I want him out.
Garnacho
to make. Garnacho, I want him out. Even though he's got all this potential, I want him out. Don't like him.
Yes.
He's not the right fit for this environment. So I think you can credit him with that.
Yeah, he's made big decisions doing that, hasn't he? And I think they've probably done that as a group with Ineos as well. And Jason Wilcott's gone, no, this squad and this, as it's shown, that dressing room will be much happier without these lads that are talking behind your back, releasing things in the press, sulking at trade. You can't go anywhere with these. They just pull you back down. And I think it's been proven that we've cut ties with them lads. I think the dressing room is happier. So you have to give the manager a lot of credit for making those decisions. Yeah.
I think that's fair. So, I mean, the good, you basically covered a lot of the things that I was going to say as well about bringing the togetherness back. I think Matthjs Cunha and Brian Mbeumo have helped with that as well, because they've taken the training to another level. So win, lose or draw, the training allegedly is much better out there. Let's move on to the bad. So this is obviously the things that aren't going so well, and the ugly will be the things that we bloody hate. So yeah, let's do the bad right now.
Okay. I put his stubbornness down to the formation, throw them both in the same bracket, because as United, we're not used to that three at the back, are we? It's something that we can't say it's good because of what happened last year. We can see a bit of progression now this year, but I don't think it's the formation should be going in the good part. I think this three at the back, we have to get used to it. The players are having to get used to it. But like he did say, stick with it and see where we are and judge him on that. The results that we've had the past year, you can't say any. What was he, 1 or 2 games off being sacked, Nathan? Realistically,
Yeah, I think
Chelsea game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and even this, Yeah, probably the Chelsea game. Yeah, I think you're right. That probably would have been the day where they handled it. But I also think that if we wouldn't be talking in such positive ways about him had he not just gone unbeaten for the last 5 games. Draws or not, like, unbeaten in the last 5 games, you have to credit that. You can't just sack a manager because of, you know, because people don't like him at the club or players don't like him. You have to be judged based on the results. So 5 games unbeaten, can't really do anything about that. So I think he's doing okay. But yeah, in long run results, it's been a thing, hasn't it? It's been a big
It's been
thing.
tough. It's just been tough, hasn't it? And it's been tough as a United fan to keep. As you all know, I've been saying stick with him, stick with him, stick with him, and it become even harder and harder every week to keep doing that. Say no, have faith, have faith. You can see things. I like what he's doing, etc. I like where we're going. I could see a picture. Obviously, I'm not taking full credit for it because it could all turn around in the next 6 months, couldn't it? But I could see something. I have no idea what it was. I have a bit of faith in him, but it was hard once it for 8, 9, 10 months. It was really difficult because everybody was on his back. We were on his back on here about changing the formation. We can see it's not working. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to play this play here, this player there. Credit to him for turning it around is what I'd say. But if we're going in the last year, I think the formation stubbornness has to go in there in the bad section.
Well, also that's another point that was touched upon with the Athletic article that I keep referring back to, where Jason Wilcox apparently prefers 4-3-3, and it's something that they'd spoken about before. Obviously, when Amorim came in, he wanted to play this formation, but they're now at a point where if he did change it, but before this run of 5 games, if he'd have changed it to the 4-3-3, then everyone would have gone, well, it was the formation. Why didn't you just change it in the first place? So he was damned if he did, damned if he didn't in that situation. So people would have been going, well, yeah, that was the problem all along. You were stubborn. Why didn't you change it? So now he's completely down that path of this is the formation that Manchester United need to play. It will evolve, but this is the formation that Manchester United need to play. Unfortunately, he started to string a few results together because Wilcox is not enamoured by this formation, and it will change to a 4-3-3 eventually, I think.
Yeah, it is a fluid formation now. I think it's a lot more fluid than what it was when he first came in, because it was stuck 3, and then you thought, and then it was really rigid as a 3 at the back. Now it does evolve into, like we said last week before, it does evolve to a 4 at the back, and when the centre half dives in, and then your strikers are very fluid as well in the way they move around, etc. So I think that's probably something they've worked on, because I don't know if he did that at Spartan or not, but formations have to be fluid at this standard. You can't just stick to one thing because you get found out. So yeah, that's a good thing. And like I said, he's a young manager who's probably hopefully evolving his way of thinking in football as well.
I'm conscious of time because I know that you need to go and do the school run at some point.
Yeah, don't worry.
In the next 10 minutes or so. So we'll cut through it. Did you have any more bads? Because most of mine were essentially the results and this stubbornness of the formation. So I
Exactly
think
what
we're
I've
on
got
the
for
same
that.
page with that. So we can go to the ugly parts of things, and I've got some that I want to get off my chest with this, and I think it's probably the perfect opportunity to do so. So I'll let you go first, though.
All right, okay. I'll probably pick the same ones as you. The centre midfield being wide open does my head in. Players playing out of position. Another thing where we don't have the wing backs playing in the right position. We don't have Bruno playing in the right position. Even the forwards are playing in different positions. We haven't got the players to play that formation still. So yeah, I've got to put that in the ugly. Players playing out of position and Casemiro just being left, like looking around. Who's here with me?
Yeah.
It's been improved on with De Ligt just charging in there like a maniac, which I love. But I'm putting that in the ugly. Also, Diogo Dalot.
Diogo Dalot, it doesn't matter what we're talking about on this podcast. He goes in there as a negative.
Every ugly list. Sorry, mate.
Yeah.
Poor lad.
The ugly thing for me was the way that his reactions were to defeats. So I didn't like the way that he came out and he said the players have spoke really loud after the Grimsby game. I didn't like the fact that he admitted that he'll just walk away from the club if they don't feel like he's the right man. Change the manager rather than the changing the players type of thing, because I don't think that helps. I think there's times when you do have that self-preservation, when you're like, I'm confident of what I'm doing and I'm going to show you that I can do that in the way that I do things, not just by words. But I think he came out and he was very emotional, and I think that's something that he's probably learned now. That's not something, as a Manchester United manager, you cannot be doing that stuff, because I think that was probably the thing that set me off with it's probably time for a change of manager. When he started saying stuff like that, it's like, well, if you're not committed to it and you're ready to walk away, why should any fans be like with you with this? And that really, it still does. Like, I'm feeling angry about it now, just hearing him like talking about it. I do want him to succeed, but when you're saying stuff like that, like we had this conversation before, if you're in a relationship and someone keeps saying just for the minor things, oh, I'm thinking of leaving you. I'm thinking of going, like it doesn't leave anyone in a nice situation. So I think that's probably the ugliest thing. But the last thing I was going to ask you about Ruben Amorim's tenure, obviously he's done his 12 months now. Do you think he will still be there in 12 months' time?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I feel like the way we're going at the minute, the past 5-6 games, like you said, I think the players are now buying into what he's trying to teach them. Yeah, I could definitely see him there. I don't see him having such a bad run of games in the next 6 to 8 months that they'll sack him.
Okay. I'm not entirely sure he is going to be there.
One more thing on the ugly.
I'm not sure.
Them penalties. Be interesting to see what happens next time we have a penalty shootout. Just watch them, Gaffer, because that was awful.
Again, and this is his character. These are the things that I'm talking about. When I say about the ugly things, and his commitment to the club, and try like being one of us. Those are the things that I'm talking about. I think also as well is exactly. I want to go back just quickly to what we were saying about the man management thing and the fact that he isn't great as a man manager. You look at the situations with Kobbie Mainoo and Joshua Zirkzee, and they want to leave right now. They want to get out of there. They want to go and play football elsewhere. Can you, with the information that I've just given you, can you imagine him taking them to one side and explaining what their position is going to be? Or because they're talking about leaving and going off and going on loan somewhere, is it more to do with the lack of communication? Where they're like, right, okay, I don't know what my position is going to be. And I want to play football. So let me go if that's what you want.
Another manager that has got a reputation for that kind of thing is Pep, though, isn't it? Where he's not apparently the best man management person to if he's struggling as a squad player.
I don't know about that, but we interviewed Pablo Zabaleta the other day, and he was glowing about Pep.
Yeah.
He was
playing every game, wasn't he?
But no, he wasn't actually, because if you remember, Zabaleta wasn't. He was coming in at the end of his contract. And Pep had a decision to make. He could have got rid of Zabaleta. I don't want to talk about City on this. What we're doing, but he was talking to. He had a conversation with Pep, and Pep was like, "I want you to stay. Like, I know you're not going to play as many games, but I just need you to stay. I've got things that I need to do in this squad, and I need you to be here as a leader that's going to help me get these things through. After that, we'll gladly allow you to go to whichever club you want to go to." So that I don't think that's necessarily similar between Guardiola and Amorim. I think Amorim's miles off that, but it's one of those things that when you look at the bigger picture, his lack of communication might be contributing to this. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, we'll have to see, won't we?
Right, open it up. We missed it last week. Get the Gummers mailbag open, mate.
It's open. Aaron, how are you, sir?
Aaron,
he's in there. He's in there.
In the cup. Aaron's there. Aaron, who is obviously my older brother, who has sent this message to me and you. So he definitely wants it covered on this podcast today.
He wants it done. He's put, if Ivan Toney is available, should we be in for him in January?
And I replied back to him on WhatsApp and I said, 100%, I would definitely take him. We don't have a backup on the bench. We don't have a backup. Joshua Zirkzee, look at his last 20 shots. I'm going to guarantee he tries to side foot every single one of them. Every single one. He can't shoot. Like, he's a really good player, and I love Zirkzee, but he can't shoot. And if you've got an opportunity to get someone that's going to rifle home a shot as soon as he's got an opportunity, I'm taking Ivan Toney all day.
Really? Would you take him over Mateta?
No, of course not. But Mateta's not going to be available in January.
Oh, everybody's available at a price.
Yeah, well, if there's an opportunity to get, and Mateta's what, 27. If you can get, is he 27? Need to check that. If you can get Ivan Toney, Prem proven, still scoring goals in the Saudi League for a cut price, back at Manchester United, playing as backup to Benjamin Sesko, or leading the line, while Sesko gets up to speed, I'm all over that. He's 28,
He would not be coming in, Ivan Toney, as a backup to anybody. He's not that kind of character you can have as sat around, because he will be kicking cones everywhere if he's on the bench. He won't just sit there. But that's what you need at Old Trafford, I suppose, isn't it? Characters.
Yeah, it is.
Players. When he was in the Premiership, he was brilliant, wasn't he? I know he linked with Arsenal heavily. I think we spoke and we said he'd be perfect for us. I can't say no. I just feel like there's better options. But if he came in, I would not be disappointed. Not be disappointed.
I think it would all depend on what the fee would be. That would depend
and
on
wages,
what the fee would be.
And wages, etc. Yeah. On that, who realistically would you like to sign in January? One realistic player.
Angelo Stiller. I think German clubs can't afford to turn down big money, so that he's the one that I would go and get. He's a fantastic midfielder. He sorts out a lot of problems, and I think you go and get him in January. You suck it up. You pay a little bit over the odds for him, but you've got a player there that could be there in United's midfield for the next decade. And then if you want to pair him up with someone else later on, if you want a Wharton, if you want Elliot Anderson, if you want someone else that's going to come in and do that job, then perfect. But I think January, realistically or not, you need to go and get a midfielder this January.
Okay. Interesting. I've got two players, obviously, that aren't midfielders. I asked you for one, but either of these two I think available you could get in January. I've got Semenyo. I think he's absolutely brilliant. I think we need attacking options. Yeah. Also, Anthony Robinson from Fulham. I think he's brilliant.
Okay.
I think he would slot straight into the starting 11. They'd be two I'd be looking at.
I think Robinson's probably one that you could maybe prize away, simply because Fulham are having a torrid time. There was talk of Marco Silva being sacked this week, because I think they're just hovering above the relegation zone, and he's not had a great time, and he's refusing to sign a contract as well. So that's the time when you want to strike on a club, when you when they're in disarray. It's like, hey, I'll give you how much is he worth? What do you reckon he's worth? 40, 50 mil?
I think you get him 35. I think you get him 35, yeah, plus add-ons, yeah. And I'd take him straight in there just to help out the first team squad. Legs for days, that lad. Yeah.
Fair. I'll take it. And then have you got one more question there?
Uno mas, I have, from Big Ed Wayne. So this isn't a United. Not including United players, who did we idolise in our younger days?
Rule Fox was one of them.
Great shout. What a player he was.
Yeah, I followed his career. Norwich, Newcastle. Always thought United might have signed him. Always wanted them to sign him, but never did.
What a player. Rule Fox, show your age there, sunshine.
I know. But yeah, Rule Fox was top. Yeah. Original Ronaldo as well.
Yeah.
I know that again, we had that opportunity. Manchester United, it's gone down in folklore that United had an opportunity to sign him. We wouldn't pay. We were quoted a price from PSV, and we wouldn't pay it, and he ended up going to Inter Milan for $1 million less than what we were quoted.
Barca
No,
went from
no, it was.
PSV then.
Yes, sorry, yeah, Barcelona.
Yeah,
Barcelona paid like $1 million less than what we'd been quoted. So yeah, that's one that we missed out on. But I remember having the long sleeve Kappa Barcelona shirt, the
Yeah.
Ronaldo one.
Yeah.
Oh, what a player! But yeah, him and Real Fox. What about you?
Well, yeah. Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo, the greatest of all time. No one even comes close. These kids these days don't realise how good he was. He was my idol. Absolutely brilliant, that lad. And with 2 dodgy knees. Superb.
Yeah.
And I've not seen anything close to him since. The other one, if we go about Premier League, I thought Thierry Henry was brilliant. Loved him. He's aura. Even though he played for Arsenal, he's aura. The way he played football, the way he attacked, pace, power, arrogance. Yeah, brilliant player. Thierry Henry.
Interviewed
go
him
with
out
them
here. Did
Really?
I tell you that?
No, you didn't.
Yeah,
Nice
Henry.
guy.
Yeah.
I bet he's
He-
cool,
yeah,
innit?
he seemed okay. We was filming it, and he had a really sort of nervous tick that he did. He's probably over it now because he's doing far more media. But he had this like nervous little thing that he used to do if he fluffed his lines. Not going to
Should
say
have given
it,
him one of them.
what it was. Yeah,
Should have given him one of these stress balls.
It was a verbal one, so he would have had to have put it in his mouth. But yeah, it was a funny one. It was a funny one. But yeah,
All right, okay.
Thierry Henry.
Right.
That's two good shouts there, mate. Two good shouts.
Right.
Right. Okay. That's it. The end of another podcast. Paul is off to go and do the school run.
Yeah,
I think.
never stops. Life as a father.
Well, exactly. This is what we bought into, mate. This is what we bought into. This is what we signed up for. But yeah, it's great having you back on. Let's make sure we do this again. Get
Brilliant.
the coffees done for this
Yep.
time next week. For anyone that wants to follow us on socials or wants to sign up to our free newsletter, go to fergiesgumpodcast.com, our new website where you can sign up for all those things in one simple place. But until the next podcast, we haven't even got a game this week, have we? Not got a game. Bloody
International break.
internationals.
Boo.
Boo. We'll be back next week anyway to talk more things Manchester United. Until then, thanks for listening.